Welcome to episode 766 of Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I am sharing experiences, true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, links to social media, ways to listen to the show, and ways to support the show at the podcast website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. And there you can also find the merch store, the merchandise store. And I'm mentioning that because I've had two people so far purchase shirts, and I'm really grateful for that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone thinks of them as more people hopefully will be able to buy them, and hopefully they are um, good quality and everything, and go from there. So also, please check out all the links in the episode description to all of the friends of the show that help out on a regular basis. Those that have projects anyway. Um, of course, Jen, the Arcane Observer, who is the co-host of the show. We always do shows on Saturdays. And then Michael Strange of the Trouble Minds Radio Show and Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And because they've helped so much with the show, and putting the show on other platforms, the online radio, which is amazing. So, then of course Jen has helped with co-hosting. So, I always recommend everyone check out all the links in every episode description, because there you can find links to any projects that guests have going. So, yeah, thank you for being here, and I think that covers everything. So, this is actually a do-over, because the last time I tried recording this episode, there was a glitch in Discord, and the stage shut down, and I was not aware it happened until midway through the show. So, um, so yeah. So far though, it's been good since then. So hopefully that is was just a one-time thing. And so yeah, getting back to these stories here. Like I said, I've started to read a couple of these last week, but we're gonna try again. So this first one, let me see here. It seems like the zoom is not as big as it should be. Let me see here. 100, yeah, that's better. Let's see, make it a little smaller. There we go. That's better. Everything looks a little better now. A little bit easier to read. Sorry about that. So this first one says, my mother-in-law is a twin who lost her brother 30 years ago. She claims that her deceased mother visited her in her dreams. Oh, wait. Mother? Oh, I'm sorry, brother. There we go. I can't read, apparently. She claims that her deceased brother, there we go, visits her in her dreams. Visited her, sorry, in her dreams, where he was putting together a crib. Wow, I can't read today. When she asked her brother what the crib was for, he replied that she was going to have a grandson. I was skeptical and thought my mother-in-law was being irrational, as my husband and I were not trying to have children at the time. A few days later, I started experiencing morning sickness and discovered that I was unexpectedly pregnant. I gave birth to a son. And that's where that one ends. Sorry for the terrible reading of the beginning of that there, but basically the words are hard, yes. And that is actually one of the one of the most recent designs for the shirt that has been added to the shop. And that is because that is a constant saying of mine, and it's spread on to others, which I'm really happy about, because it's true. And yeah, so the story there basically is that the mother-in-law of the writer there had a dream about her brother who had passed on 30 years earlier, and he was putting together a crib and she didn't understand why he was doing that, and he told her that she'd have a grandson soon. And the writer, when she heard about this, uh, thought that was weird and probably not accurate, and it was just a dream because she wasn't pregnant at the time. Until at one point she found out she was, and she had a son. So it's really amazing when those kinds of experiences happen because it's there's no evidence in situations like that. There's no evidence of the thing uh, being the way it's the dream or the experiences it's going to be, the prediction, however you want to call it. Um, there's not direct evidence at the time of the experience of the dream or whatever, the visitation, but then there is after the fact. And so that's always amazing to me, and that just hints at there being some kind of a connection. Whether it seems like it was the brother, and it seems like he was aware of things. And if spirits do sort of come and go, if reincarnation is real, even if it's not, if there's spirits come to this level of reality, are born here in a physical body and everything, and then eventually pass out of that body, then he could have had knowledge. The brother could have had knowledge of being a soul or spirit or consciousness himself of what was going to happen. So thought that was a neat one there. And it was a short one, but the writer did well there with just putting everything in order, and they did better at writing it than I did reading it. So yeah, amazing. And I've heard similar accounts of that before. People have deceased loved ones that come to them in their dreams and say, this is going to happen, or this has happened, even though there's no evidence of it. And then the person having the dream finds out after the fact that it's true, that the dream was accurate. And the visitation, the loved one that visited them, they were correct. So really amazing when that happens. At least in that case, anyway. That's good news. That's but yeah, moving on to the next one here. And this one says, my husband and I were in bed at around 1 a.m. when we heard a woman singing mournfully in the distance. The singing was soon joined by a group of people, and the sound became louder and closer. I was shaking with fear and tried to point out the sound to my husband, but he was trying to ignore it. Neither of us wanted to go outside to investigate the source of the sound. It lasted for about 90 minutes, and I am not sure what it could have been, but it seems unlikely to have been just kids messing around. Has anyone had a similar experience? And that's where that one ends. That is a really wild one, in the fact that these voices come from nowhere, and then they last for 90 minutes. That is an incredibly long time for any kind of at least from what I've heard and experienced myself. That is a long time for any kind of paranormal experience or an unusual or unexplained event like that. So often these things happen in a matter of minutes, and sometimes even just seconds, and they're there and then they're gone. So for this to go on for an hour and a half, I really wonder what was going on there. It sounds almost to me like, I wonder if it was some kind of a procession for the passing of someone, a loved one or something. Not so much of the writer there, but of the individuals that were singing. I don't know, but it reminds me of on a much larger scale and longer scale. But it reminds me of the time that I heard an older couple, um, just their voices moving through my apartment, starting in the front and moving through and going out the back. And I never saw them. I never heard any footsteps, but I could just hear them talking, and like they were having a pleasant conversation. But this experience that the writer there shared, that's a lot longer, and that singing, and I don't know, that just reminds me of some kind of a ceremony or some kind of a ritual being held in honor of someone else, possibly. I as is always the case with these stories, I'd love to be able to ask questions. You know, what were the people singing? Could the people that had the experience make out the words? Because if they could, then that would maybe help narrow down what was going on and why it was going on. But that's the thing with these posts, you get what you get. And so, but yeah, that's a wild one to have lasted for that long. That's what my mind sticks on is just 90 minutes is in general a very long time for something unexplained to last. So so yeah, I thought that one was amazing there. And it's a long time. Like Sweets and Chats as well, it's a long time. So many experiences that I read about or hear about, and so many of my own, they last minutes. I'm talking like less than 5 minutes usually, at a time, and that's it, and then it's done. And sometimes it's even just a matter of a few seconds. I saw a shadow figure, the top part of a shadow figure, last Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday, something like that, in my apartment. And it was just for a split second. It was not long at all. I just happened to get up from my computer here and looked up, and I just saw the shoulders and head of a shadow figure right by my closet door. And it was there, and then it was gone. I mean, less than a few seconds, I'm guessing. And no bad feelings from it. Nothing, no feelings from it at all. But that's how long that lasted. And so many other accounts, they're similar. Even other accounts where things happen and they last longer. Someone sees an apparition, and it goes by over the course of 5 or 10 minutes. I mean, even 10 minutes is long sometimes. So anyway, just look around online, and if you sort of try to chart how long each experience lasts, if you look on any platforms, Reddit or whatever, for true stories like that, you'll find it's seconds. It's a few minutes, not 90 minutes. So, moving on to the next one here. I feel like I could go in circles with that story for the rest of the show. I don't want to do that to y'all. So, moving on to the next one here. This one says, I was sleeping sideways on my bed to be close to my fan. My feet were hanging off the mattress. I was awakened by someone tapping my left big toe twice. At first, I thought it was my husband tapping to wake me up, but no one was there. We don't have any pets or other animals that could have caused the tapping. I don't know if the location of the tapping on my left big toe is important, and that's where that one ends. Yeah, that I don't know what to make of that one. Someone trying to get your attention. It is odd, but also if you think about, we don't know how much energy it takes for consciousness, for spirits to physically interact with the physical world, the material existence, or whatever you want to call it. We don't know how much energy it takes to do that, to even have one bit of influence on physical objects. And so maybe that was the most that whoever was there could manifest, could actually make happen. And they were trying to get the writer's attention, and that was the only way they could do it. For any number of reasons, the consciousness, the spirit's location, the energy levels that it took to do that, the experience of being in that state, to where I do think that experience can lead to maybe more complex or more significant experiences as far as the presence, whatever energy levels they have and whatever experience they have with using them. But I'm wondering if this was just a case of this is all that they could do, and not meaning to be creepy necessarily, but having it come across that way because of the positioning and all that. So, of course, I have no idea, but that's where my mind goes with that. Whenever there's any kind of just the smallest of contact of anything that is you can't see, or is there or not there for a second, is it yes, we could go to the idea of it's being someone there that's trying to mess with people. That's always possible. Or it's evil and just trying to play with your mind. But I don't think that's always the case. And I think that in some cases it is literally just a matter of, again, this is all I can do. So here we go. And at least I hope that's what that is in those kind of situations. And that's all I can do, because I don't know how all this stuff works. So let's get at least one more in here for this episode. This one is actually flying by fast today, which is good, because I still want to record 3 more tonight. But okay, moving on to the next one here. This one is a little bit longer than the first few were, which is good. This one says, I was 19 years old when this happened. I went up to the rooftop of my house at around 8 p.m. to fix an issue with the water pump device. As I leaned forward to look up, I saw a creature with its back toward me, or turned to me, about a few steps away. The creature had a texture like black leather on its head, pointy ears, and protrusions that I assumed were wings. The creature suddenly turned around, and I made a sound of confusion, causing the creature to raise its wings over its face. The full moonlight reflected off of the creature's head, and I saw a pair of yellow eyes. I felt a time lapse and lost my balance, falling off the edge of the roof. But when I landed, I felt like I had dropped down hard onto my bottom in a different position. I quickly looked around, but couldn't see anything, and I got off the rooftop and ran into the house, feeling disoriented and confused. I doubted whether I had really seen anything, but I couldn't sleep that night, thinking that maybe I had seen something that could come back and visit my house. I only told my mom and one friend about the incident, and I haven't shared the story with anyone else since. And that's where that one ends. That is that's a frightening one. I can understand why they backed off like that. It sounds like some humanoid figure with wings and glowing eyes. And I don't get a ton of those, but every once in a while I'll find one, and it is really, I don't know what to make of those. It sounds almost like a what you might think of like a gargoyle in a way. Um, I don't know, but there's also not a ton of detail on that because the writer was obviously frightened, and it wasn't a super long sighting. But yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Also, the time lapse. I wonder what do they mean there was missing time? Because that's a whole other level of high strangeness. Um, and if there was, then does that explain why they were sort of in a different position than they thought they'd be in? That could be. Um, so yeah, I don't know with that one. Um, I wanted to share that because every so often these things will show up in places, and this one I wonder if the writer is surprised that this whoever or whatever this was doesn't seem like this figure was too happy to be seen. And but I don't know. That's maybe that was a regular hangout spot for the whatever that was, the humanoid. And the writer just happened to, because of trying to do repairs, caught it in person for once. And yeah, I don't know with that one. Let's see how long the next one is here, and we'll figure out if there's time to do it. Because the longer ones. All right, we will try this one. This one says, I went on a solo camping trip in West Virginia, near the state border, and was directed to a free camping area by a ranger. I set up camp near an abandoned house and a small waterfall and started a fire, which was extinguished with 2 gallons of water at around 9:30 p.m. I woke up around 11:30 p.m. to the sound of a noise, but didn't hear anything unusual after staying silent for a while. I noticed that the fire had restarted and was quite large, but I couldn't explain how it happened. I walked to the river, got 7 to 8 gallons of water, and picked up 2 logs that were soaked and cold to the touch. I went back to sleep. I'm guessing they mean they put out the fire. I went back to sleep and woke up again at 1:15 a.m. to the sound of small sticks breaking and the glow of the fire through my tent. I heard the sticks breaking for about 20 minutes. Then it stopped, and, and I made a plan to leave the campsite immediately. I ran to my car, saw the logs on fire as I left, and returned later to find everything exactly as I had left it, including the logs still soaking wet. I have no explanation for what happened. And that is a wild one. There's so much there. I have no idea what to make of it. And which is okay because we are out of time for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.